I'm going to start by introducing the Apping Club. So we're an online nonprofit club that teaches our members how to make apps. Once in a while, we will hold some online crash courses and seminars. And we hope that by doing so, we can teach our members to make an impact in their community. So please join if you're interested. I will be sending our Discord server link in the chat. Also, after this class, I will be sending the link to my slides in the Discord server. So if you want access to the slides, you can join the Discord server. Okay, so our agenda for today, we're first going to be going over some coding basics, that is conditional statements and for loops. After that, we'll be doing an app walkthrough. So first, just a review from last class. The logic data type, or you can call it the booleans, it only has two values, that is true or false. So true just means yes and false is no. And let's look at a few examples here. So on the left side, I have some numerical comparisons. So the first one, 13 is less than or equal to 7. And that is not true, so this expression will evaluate to false. The same thing for the next one, 13 is greater than 13. That is also not true, so that will also be equal to false. And then 13 is not equal to 12. That is true this time, so it will just be true. And then on the right side, we can also make string comparisons with these Boolean expressions. So first, hello is equals to hi. That is not true because they're spelled differently, so that's basically false. And then the next one, hi equals to hi. They're the same thing, so that will be true. Does anyone has any questions so far? If you do, just feel free to type in the chat. Okay, we can move on now. Okay, next are the logical operators. So what the logical operators does is that they can change the Boolean expression you already have. Like for example, not, the not will reverses whatever statement you already have. So not true will basically turn into false. And I'll show an example of that real fast in the MIT App Inventor. So if I have a statement that's, let's say 0 equals to 0, this is true right here because 0 is equal to 0. And if I attach this to not, this whole thing will become false. So it basically just reverses whatever the value it is. And after not, we have and evaluates to true only if both sides are true. So true and true will be true. True and false is false because in order for it to be true, you both have to be true. And then same thing, false and true is also false, and false is false. And then for or evaluates to true like only as long as one is true. So true or true is true. True or false is true. False or true is also true because you only need one to be true. And then false or false will evaluate to false. Is everything making sense so far? Okay. Now, after going over our Boolean expressions, we will now move on to conditional statements. So the first type of conditional statements is if statements. So if statement will check for a condition, and if the condition is true, then it will execute the following code. So in this example I have on my slides right here, if the num variable is greater than 6, then it will continue to execute this following code right here, which is set text to the number is greater than 6. And if the condition is not true, then it will just not do anything. It will just move on. Okay, the next one is if-else statements. If-else is it builds on if statements. So after this first if statement, it checks for the first condition. And if it's true, then it will just go on to execute this code, the first block of code. And then if it's not, it will then execute the second block of code. So in my example right here, if this number is greater than 6, then I will set text to the number is greater than 6. And then if it's not, then I will just set the text to the number is less than or equal to 6. Does the logic of this code make sense right here? Can everyone like type yes in the chat if this is making sense to you guys? Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's move on. And then another type of conditional statement is if else if statement. So this works like if the first condition is true, then execute the first block of code. Else, check for another condition, check for this second condition. And if that is true, execute the second block of code. And if all the conditions are not true, then execute the last block. And also you can add as many else's as you need. And to do that, I will be showing an example real fast. So if statements are in the control section, and then just pull this block out, and then click on the blue setting button, and then drag this else if under one else if. And now you will have two else ifs. So what this does is that it allows you to check for as many conditions as you want. Okay. And then we'll be going over loops. So loops, it repeats a block of code until a specific condition is met. So this allows us to execute the code up to a desired number of times. It also allows us to clean up duplicated code, and it takes less coding and saves time and saves our effort. There are two main types of code, and they're the for loop and while loop. And today we will only be going over the for loop for time purposes. So the for loop it allows you to repeat code for a specific number of times. It will create a temporary variable here, and then this temporary variable it starts from the starting value. And each time it will execute this block of code, and after that it will increment the temporary value number by 1. And then it will continue doing so. It will continue execute the code, and then increment the temporary variable by 1 until this temporary variable is greater than 5. So 5 is the ending value. Like when number is equal to 5, it will execute this code for the last time, and then it will move on. this might seem a little confusing at first, but I think it will make more sense if we look at an example here. So this example right here calculates the sum from starting value to ending value. And my starting value and ending value right here is 1 to 5. So it will this code will be calculating the sum from 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, and now let's walk through what's happening behind this code. So first, the sum will be equal to 0, and then the for loop starts. For each number from 1 to 5, set sum to get sum plus get number. So the number starts off at 1, and then it will be executing this code here. Set sum to the current sum, which is 0, and then the current number, which is 1. So after it executes this, sum will be 1, and then number will be incremented by 1. So number is now 2. And then at 2, it executes this again. So the sum is 1 plus 2 equals 3. The current sum plus the current number, which is 1 plus 2. And then it continues to repeat when number is 3, 4, and then when it gets to 5, this is the last iteration it will do. It will execute this for a last time, and then when I get back, it will be incremented by 1, and that is now 6. 6 is greater than 5, so this for loop stops. And then it will move on from there. So basically, what we can observe right now is that it will, if you start at 1, then it will execute for up to the time of the ending value. So basically, it will execute 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 times. Okay, is this making sense right now? Can everyone just like type yes again so I know like this is making sense? Okay. Thank you. And just feel free to ask any questions if you have any problems. And now we're going to be doing a walkthrough for an app. This app is called the Dice Roll Simulator.
Oh, simulator app.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
and then this what this app does is that it takes the user will be able to input the number of dice, the number of rounds, and the target value. And for each round, we will generate random dice values, and then sum up these values, and then check if the sum is equal to the target value. And then finally, we're going to output the percentage of rounds the target value is for each. So we're gonna start by doing the front end. So now I want everybody to go into the MIT App Inventor link. I will send that in the chat. Okay, and please log in to your account, and then you should be at this screen. And once you're at this screen, please type yes in the chat so I know I can continue. Okay, just waiting for a few more people. Okay, does anybody need more time right now? Okay, then I'm gonna assume everyone is good right now. And then we're gonna go ahead and create a new project. I'm gonna name it Dice Roll Simulator here. And click OK. Oh, okay. So I already did this once. So I'll just have to change the name. Okay, so you should get this screen right now. And then first, what we want to do is we want to pull a label here. And then I will make it a line in the middle. So click on screen 1, and then I'll make everything center aligned. So do that by go to align horizontal and click center. So now this text is in center. And then this label is going to be our title. So rename it to be label title. Okay, now we want to change the text right here to Dice Roll Simulator. So this is the title right now. And then after that, we want the user to enter in the number of dice, the target value, and the number of rounds. And let's start off by making a label for each of them. The first one will be number of dice. And then I will rename this to label dice now. And then I will be adding a text box after that. What the text box does is that it allows the user to input a value in there. And I will be renaming this text box to txt dice now. Okay, is this speed okay right now? Does anybody want me to wait for a few seconds? Okay, if not, I'm gonna continue right here. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create the target value. This is okay. This is the target value. And then I will be renaming this to label target value. It is important to name things properly so that it just makes things easier when we're coding them. And then add a text box. This text box will allow the user to enter in the target value. And same thing, we're going to rename it to txt target value. Okay, now we're going to repeat the same thing for number of rounds. Change this label text to number of rounds. And then I will be renaming this also to label round num. And the same thing, I'll be adding a text box for user input. Okay, I'll be giving everyone like 2 minutes to catch up and ask any questions if you need. And if you're finished doing this, can you please type yes in the chat?
It's okay.
And if you need me to do something over again, just feel free to let me know. Does anybody need more time to do this? Okay, if not, I'm going to move on. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a calculate button. So once this button is clicked, it will then calculate the result for us. I will be renaming this to btn calculate. And the final thing for the user input, for the user interface, will be our answer. So this text box here is for answer, and then I'm gonna leave it blank for now because we don't have an answer yet. Now we'll be renaming this to label answer. Okay, so that's it for the front end. I will give everybody 1 minute to finish up, and just let me know when you're done. So please type yes again if you're done. We have 2 people done right now. Okay, just let me know if you need more time. Okay, I'll be moving on to the code section then. So let's walk through what we should do for the code. So first, we're going to loop through the number of rounds. And then for each round, we're gonna sum up the value of the dice. And then after that, we're gonna check for if the sum is equal to the target value. And during our code, we should be keep track of the count. This will be a variable that keeps track of the number of times the target value is reached. And also for each round, we should be keeping track of the sum of the dices. And just note it will reset to 0 at the beginning of each round. Okay, now let's start. Click on blocks on the top right. And then the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to scroll down and find button calculate. Click on it and then pull out when button is clicked. So this code is gonna be executed when the button is clicked. And then we'll be creating a global variable called count. And once again, this will be keeping track of how many times the target value is reached. And initialize that to 0. And I will be setting count again to 0 at the beginning. Every time the button calculate is clicked. So set count to 0. Okay, next, for each round, we're going to be summing up the dices. So let's go to control and then click on the for loop, drag it out. So for each round, from 1 to the number that's indicated by the user's input. So we can do that by go to dicenum txt dicenum and then get txt dicenum.text and then drag it here. So can anybody tell me how many times this loop is going to repeat? Yeah, that's right. Like how many times it is inputted by the user. Oh, wait, sorry. I made a mistake right here. It should be number of rounds, not the number of dice. Yeah, so it will be repeating for the number of rounds times. Oh, why is this not going? Hold on. Oh, my bad. Yeah, it should be the text one. Okay, and for each round, we're going to create a variable called sum to keep track of the sum of the dices. And we're going to initialize that to 0. And now we're going to be calculating the sum. And that is similar to the example we just went through, this example right here. So these are similar, except that like you're not doing the numbers, you're getting random dice values. So this time we're gonna add another for loop inside here. And then for each dice, we're going to be generating a random value and then adding that to the sum. And now go to txt dice num and then drag out dice num dot text. Okay, and then for every iteration here, we're going to set our sum to the current sum plus a random value. Get current sum, and then to generate a random integer, just go to the math box, and then drag out this random integer thing. Put it in, and then we want a random integer from 1 to 6, because this is a dice, right? Okay, is everything making sense so far? Okay, can everyone just type yes if you're done writing these code? Okay, I'll give everyone 1 minute. Okay, I will be moving on right now. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check if the sum is equal to the target value. And we're going to do this check with an if statement. So if this sum is equal to the target value, then we're gonna increment count by 1. So now go to txt.targetValue and get target value dot text. And now we're going to increment the count by 1. So to do that, drag out the set block, set count to current count plus 1. Get count plus 1. Okay, now that's all for the coding part. And then to show our output to the screen, we will be setting this answer label right here to whatever the answer is. So go to label answer and then drag out set label answer dot text too. And now we want to get the percentage the percentage of times the target value is reached. And to do that, we just divide count by the number of rounds. And after that, we want to set the string, and then we want to attach a percentage sign after that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to text and then drag out join right here. So this join will allow us to join strings. So the first thing is gonna be this value right here, and the second thing it's gonna be the percentage sign. Okay, so that's it for the codes. Does anybody have any question right now? Okay, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll give everybody 2 minutes to finish up their code. Please type yes when you're done. Okay, and now we can actually test out our app. So to do that, first, do you guys have the MIT App Inventor companion app on your phone? Can you just type yes in the chat if you have this app, and if you don't, just type no. Okay, so if you don't have this app, just go to your app store and then search up MIT App Inventor companion. It should be the first thing that pops up. Yeah, if you have an Android device, then it's preferable you use the Android. But it's okay if you don't too. Are you guys able to find it right now in the App Store? And someone tell me if they have found it yet. Okay, then just go ahead and download that. And can everybody just type yes in the chat after you're finished downloading so I can move on? Okay, I'll wait for 1 more minute. Okay, I'm gonna assume you guys are good. So now we'll go back to the App Inventor page, go to Connect, and then click on AI Companion. And then now you want to go back, open your app on your phone, and then click the scan QR code right here, and then scan the QR code. Are you guys able to connect it? If you are, please type yes in the chat. Okay, that's great. And if you're connected already, you can go ahead and test out your app and see how it works. So input values for the number of rounds, dice, and target value, and then just click calculate, and it should pop up a number. Okay, does anyone have any trouble connecting your app to your phone right now? Okay, after you test out your app, can everyone just type yes in the chat to let me know if it's working or not? Okay, so one person, their app is working, that's great. Anybody else that their app is working right now? Yeah, definitely. This is the entire code here. Is anybody else's app working right now? And then if it is, can you just type yes in the chat to let me know? So right now I think we have one person. Okay. And if anybody have any problems right now, you can also just like open your mic or just type in the chat. Okay, so if not, that's it for our walkthrough for today. Good job, everyone. And then now, I guess I'll share something about my experience as Miss Junior Teen California. So I went to this pageant a year ago in June back in 2023. My platform, which is the cause I was promoting back then, was actually technology education. And I think that the reason it is important is because technology is a crucial part of everyone's life. And I think it's important to educate everyone out on how to use technology efficiently and also ethically. And I think that aligns with the belief of App Club. So what we believe is that by teaching our members how to code and how to create apps, we hope that they can also create an impact in their society. We welcome everyone from we welcome everyone to increase the diversity and inclusion in our coding community. And I think that's also something that's really important. and somebody is asking me, can I send the link to my slides? So I will send the links to the slides in the Discord server after class. So if you want access to the slide, then please join the Discord server. I'll send in the link again. Yeah. Okay, now we have some extra time. Do you guys want to like talk for a while? Or we can also go over the while loop if you guys want. So I mentioned here like while loop is another type of loop. So what do you guys prefer? Do you guys just want to like talk, or do you guys want to go over the while loop? Okay. So let's go back to the MIT App Inventor. The while loop is also in the, wait, I'm actually not sure if the MIT App Inventor has the while loop. But in other programming languages, it is also an option. So how the while loop works is that the loop start and then it will be testing a condition. If this condition is true, then it will continue to execute the code in there. And as long as this is true, then it just continues to execute until this is not true. And when that turns into false, this loops just end. And just another note, every while loop can be written as a for loop, and every for loop can also be written as a while. So yeah, I don't think the MIT App Inventor has while loop right here, but just know that a while loop is another loop in other programming languages. And also, I see somebody asking in the chat, what's school life at MIT? I'm not at MIT. I'm still in high school, so I don't really know. I'm a freshman right now. Then I'll actually just like go over another type of loop that's called the for each loop. So the for each loop is also in control. It's below the for loop for each item in a list. And list is something we will be going over in next class. So just know that if I have a list right here, let's say my list has 3 elements, and that's like, let's say 1, 2, and 3. And then for each item in that list, it will do this following code right here. So it will basically repeat for the number of times for how many items there are in the list. This can also be achieved by the regular for loop, but this is just a easier way to write it. It's basically a shortcut. And yeah, there's will be a preview for next class. Next class, we're going to go over a list and dictionary. And if you have a list, then you can basically use the for loop, the for each loop. Okay, I think that's it for our class today. So if you have any question, please stay and we can help you. And if not, you can go right now.